woman named Jess Taylor and her boyfriend. Now, she's 28. They wanted to buy a couch, and they bought it used from a Goodwill store, a sofa. And they ended up buying a tan and brown two-seater 3 months ago. And about one day last week, the boyfriend lost the remote control, so he reached down into the couch cushions to see what he could come up with. And when he drew his hand back, his hand was full of what he thought were like crumbs. It was fingernails and toenails.
Could be a wad of cash.
I thought so, too.
Yeah.
They pulled out the cushions, and there were thousands and thousands of toenails and fingernails. So the previous owner of the couch, who they can't find, was using that to put in his toenail and fingernails.
I'll save you for later.
Can we tell? I'm not sure it even matters at this point, but can we tell if they were bitten off or clipped off?
That's a good question. But to have...
Because when they're clipped, they're usually more intact.
Yeah.
If you bite, you just get pieces and then...
Either way.
I bet they're bitten off because I think people who take the time to clip their toenails are neat enough to then go and throw them away.
And then spit out into the couch.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
You think they might just put
I've worked with people who, in this business, you kind of have to share microphones and that thing. Mm-hmm. And I would sometimes come into work in previous administrations, and there'd be nail clippings on the control board.
Yeah.
Really? And he had been, whoever before you had been clipping their nails and the nail. That's pretty gross. That's about as gross as anything you can find.
I thought it was a violation. I don't think any expert would say that's acceptable.
No, but a mistake, obviously, that he just accidentally left them there.
Was it?
Oh, you think he just left, whoever it was, he or she just left them there?
Yeah.
Beforehand. God, gross.
Well, they could be just pigs.
Could be.
Well, the world has, they're pigs in the world.
When the two of them, when the boyfriend found the fingernails and toenails by the thousands when he pulled the couch cushions out, he called his girlfriend. Yes. And she came running in, and they looked at it together and decided to keep the couch because they liked the couch so much. And they vacuumed all the fingernails and toenails
I don't even
out.
want them in my vacuum.
No.
He said it was like vacuuming up rice, like uncooked rice. There was and you could hear the clinking.
Yeah, you have to change the bag once or twice.
I wouldn't even want to pick it up to take it to the curb.
Man.
To the curb.
Would you get rid of it?
Yes.
Even though you liked the sofa and it was good.
I'd have looked in it before I bought it.
Oh, would
It
you?
really ties the room together.
The hell
Say it does.
We're this far from selling the house.
Now, wait a minute. You don't want to go matchy-matchy. You want something.
No, I understand.
contrasting.
It's a contrast.
I don't mind the contrast. I'm all for that.
You'd get rid of it.
Oh, hell yes.
You take it out to the street.
Yes.
What else might you find in the cushions?
I don't want to know, and I wouldn't dig any deeper.
They sure look through. Ooh, can you imagine losing your remote control and coming out with a handful of fingernails and toenails? Now, that is pretty disgusting.
That's why I keep the remote on the table in front
at
of me.
all times. Yeah. You never know what's going to go down in there.
I mean, if you buy it new and it's your toenails and fingernails, that's different.
Now, have you ever bitten your fingernails and then just put them down in the
No.
Me neither.
Thankfully, I've never been a fingernail
I
biter.
don't bite fingernails.
But I've worked with a few.
No, I know somebody bites his fingernails. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing
I think
wrong
it's
with
more the spitting of the nail and where it goes that grosses me out.
Some don't care about that. They spit it right in front of themselves.
And I don't know if this person still has the disgusting habit, but he or she has cut back on it significantly.
Yes.
I think it says a lot about a person's ego if they just flippantly spit it into the wherever.
Oh, I never thought about that angle, baby.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Me too.
Like, you're lucky that I should even do this here.
So egotistical.
Are you folding your arms there, Kelly?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm not. Let's move. Why are we even?
Well, you brought it up.
Let's don't dwell on
You
this.
mentioned it.
We
It's your
shouldn't
story.
dwell on this. I used to be a really bad fingernail biter.
Discuss it. It's bad for you, man. It's bad for your. It's infection.
Is it stress?
Do you think? I do think
Yeah.
it's stress.
Oh, it was stress, yeah.
stressful. I'm very stressed.
Bacteria in your mouth.
It's pretty nasty. Yeah, because your hands obviously have a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
germs.
back before you washed your hands before COVID.
Yeah.
I wash
Before times.
Now, wait a minute.
It was
Now.
before times.
I wash my hands before COVID. Sometimes, sometimes I would do that. They just did a study about that. This goes along with that about which is better in the bathroom for washing your hands: the paper towel, the towel you get out, or the dryer, the hand dryer. You all know the answer.
It's the towel.
It's the towel.
Always.
By 20 times better for spreading germs.
Start to see more towels in places, in public places. I think more towel have been. I see more of those dispensers than I do just the air ones.
Do you get the?
Unless you hit the
I take the air every day.
You do.
Yeah, because that you get a further. Most people don't say till the end,
to dry,
or the cycle ends and your hands are still wet. That's the biggest risk. But if you get them completely dry, it's much better.
So you're saying I always thought
I'll do 2 cycles
now,
unless there's a lawn.
But I thought the reason that the paper towel was better is because the air blows out and sort of blows germs around. That's not the reason that it's like
I
that.
never thought about that. But it seems like the high tech ones that you put your hands down in.
I like those.
Now those I like.
I do too.
Those are great. But the old ones that you get in the
I think there's way more possibility of contamination if you're putting your hands in the Dyson
because
air blade.
people are touching the sides of it. But I like the feel of those better.
They just seem a lot stronger than those convenience store push the button over and over.
They said that both methods cut the spread of viruses because you're washing your hands, but paper towels are 20 times more effective at keeping one's hands from contaminating other surfaces than the dryer. Chris Tim's probably right. You don't dry them.
You don't dry them completely
and
with
that's
the
reason.
air.
And that's the whole reason.
They're
for
expensive for a store owner or whoever's providing the paper.
The paper is more expensive.
Yeah, and you have to empty the trash.
And you got to empty the trash.
But I'm seeing more places. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but the places I go a lot of times have the option. There are a few that have.
Seen that too?
Don't you see that?
A couple do.
Yeah, that's.
I always go paper.
I do too. I always am a paper guy when I do that, and you always go.
I'll take the hot air. I'll take blown air all the time.
You're patient, Chris Demm. You're more patient. I'm ready to get the hell out of there.
I know. I don't have the patience. I was just telling
He sits through 2 cycles.
I know.
I'll sit through 2 cycles.
I told a pickleball.
I even get between my finger and my ring. I even spin my wedding ring.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
You
because I don't want
spin it
water.
around?
I don't want moisture down in there.
That's where I always get it.
But then your wife's standing outside waiting on you, looking at the beef jerky and the Funyuns. Where is
He's
he?
jerking it. Somebody's jerking it.
What the hell are you doing in there? Is that what she says?
No, I dry my hands for 2 cycles. Whatever.
I'm a 2-cycle man.
Who's with the gray-haired thin guy?
I like the feeling of moisture below the rim. I do. I like that feeling. Later, when you move it a little bit and you get that, because a little air gets to it and it's cold, I like that. I think that's a good feeling.
You can actually feel the mildew growing.
I like that. When the water gets trapped under there. It
The
gives me
rustle of air.
Yeah, it gives me a little tingly sensation for later.
Well, you can have it.
No, I like that.
Dislike.
I like getting that little tingly sensation here from time to time. This is health related as well. I thought of you, Biggie. There's a new health trend. Running backwards. If you do a jog.
Wait, first things first.
Yeah, I thought of Biggie on this. I thought, here's something the man can do. Let's get him out there and run backwards. Mm-hmm. They call it retro running. And it's trending now. They say
retro.
That's Scooby-Doo, isn't it? Retro running.
They say if you run backwards, it burns more calories by 20 to 30%.
Come on.
And it's better for your knees because you're not pounding them, I guess, like you would otherwise. But you can't go as fast.
No.
No way.
I think there's and your risk of falling, I would say, it's at least double.
Yeah.
Way bigger, yes. They say it's much easier to trip and fall.
How would you?
Much
if
easier.
you go to back in the old days, you would go to like a middle school athletic field, and they have a track around it, and you saw people, walking, jogging. You saw some numbnuts running backwards around there. What would you think?
I think it's crazy. I mean, I think, what is this idiot doing? You're running backwards. In fact, I'd probably go up to him running forwards and say, hey, man, what are you doing? As we ran.
Now, I know that even when I was a kid, we would read the Guinness Book of World Records, and they would have backwards running in there.
That's
You
right.
have like sprinting and marathoning and that kind of thing. But as fitness, I don't know.
I know. People are saying that, like, if you go to Central Park now, you're likely to see somebody jogging backwards. That's what. Come on.
In New York.
Really? Are you serious?
I hope they do the right thing and take
Just
them out.
looking for attention.
At the mob.
Got to count on New York to be New York.
Yeah.
Turbo Ted, you're talking about hand drying. Chris Tim goes hot air. Dave and I go paper towels. What do you say?
Okay, so the article that I read from the health department said that in a perfect world where hands are really clean when you get in washing them, air drying is probably the best. But if you don't do a good job of washing your hands and you stick them under the air dryer and they're still contaminated, then it blows the contamination around.
Okay.
I see.
Well, then we're doing the right thing because I half-assed the hand washing, and Chris Tim is very thorough.
I'm thorough.
So it works out perfectly. So I'm doing the right thing.
We're doing our part to save the world.
Exactly. And you're welcome. Looks like we might make it through this pandemic after all, so you're welcome.
I'd say 80% of men do not wash their hands properly or long enough.
You don't think?
No.
You're supposed to sing happy birthday.
Yeah, I know.
Twice, I believe, which really hurts Christian because he hates birthdays.
He hates that song.
I hate it.
Thank you, Turbo Ted. That's what you remember when the pandemic first started. That's what they said. Make sure you sing "Happy Birthday" twice.
Remember all the happy signs that went up around the building?
Yes.
Rip those down.
Let's get rid of the germs, y'all.
And it turned out that wasn't even the biggest deal. You know,
It really wasn't.
It was
It was not germ. It was
Not
not
touching.
handborne. It was
the
airborne.
stuff. There's a new. This was about working out as well. I thought of Biggie when I saw it.
The whole segment.
Yeah, the whole thing. I thought of Biggie, the running backwards and everything. It was just all about working out. There's something new that has gotten a woman on TikTok famous. She is a social media influencer, Lauren Giraldo, and she's come up with something called the 12-3-30 workout. And she says this was trial and error, and she made it up herself. The 12-3-30 means you walk on the treadmill at 3 miles an hour for 30 minutes at a 12% incline. So you're walking up a hill for 30 minutes. And she said she used it to lose 40 pounds and that a lot of people are now getting into it. And at gyms, you're seeing more and more people doing the 12-3-30 by walking at 3 miles per hour, which is pretty slow pace, at a 12% incline, which is steep hill.
Okay.
That's steep. And
Could you? What sort of angle is that?
it's probably, 35-degree angle. I mean, it's up.
Wow.
There. I'd say it's pretty high. When I go to the gym, the treadmills go to incline, and 15 is as high as it goes. So 12 is really, really
so almost
big.
maxed.
Yeah, it's almost maxed out on the incline. And you do it for 30 minutes. And so it's just walking, but it is uphill. And that's tough. That is really hard to do. I thought of Biggie.
So did I.
When I saw it, I thought he could. Is there a treadmill in your building?
Yeah, there's a fitness
How
room.
would he know? How would he know that, Kelly? How can you even ask that question?
It's in the brochure.
Not
when you
in
moved
my building. It's in another building, but there is a fitness area.
Do you think you do the 12-3-30?
I have to cross a busy road to get to it.
He'd have to walk to the treadmill.
That's risky.
First things first.
Maybe you could run backwards across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frogger.
You should run backwards across the street.
told me to do it.
Risky.
And then you should do the 12-3-30 over there.
Well, I mean, that's no surprise, though, that you lose a lot of weight going 30 minutes up a hill.
Hiking up a mountain.
Yeah.
That's tough. That is a really
You got to
hard
bring
thing.
that up with your coaches, Kelly.
Yeah.
They would absolutely support that because a lot of people where I go are, half I'd say are power walkers, and that's all they do. It's walking, but it's on a hill the entire time, and it starts at like 6 and goes up to 15 at some point. They go up and down, but it's similar stuff. And she says that she just made it up, and now her TikTok video has gotten 2 million likes, and people are starting to do it. So it's starting to, like the large gyms like Planet Fitness and so forth, are seeing those inclines being used for the
If
first
you're
time.
starting working out, though, that's not the way to go, right?
Well, I'm not
You're
sure.
not gonna be able to do that.
Well, it's walking,
I know, but
but it's up a hill. It is
12
up
degrees.
a hill. Yeah. And I wonder, where I go, the hills, you're up and down all the time. There are a lot of like doing hills. And I wonder if that takes its toll on a treadmill, because it is moving.
Oh, just the
Yeah.
maintenance of the machine?
Yeah, because you can literally see when people are going that high on a hill, like 12 or 15, it is a noticeable thing when they're going up it. So I wonder
I
if
haven't used a treadmill in years, but they
Yeah.
always took a beating.
Yeah.
They always wear out, especially those the industrial ones, the commercial ones. I mean, they last about a year, and they're always getting worked on.
Do you know, I bought a treadmill from Wayne Quackenbush.
The quack.
That's right.
You remember Wayne Quackenbush?
Oh, yeah.
This was 5 or 6 years ago. And this was an industrial treadmill that had been in a gym for years. And when he installed it, he looked at how many miles it had on it. And it was 150,000. It had 150,000 miles.
Highway or city?
A lot of that stop and go. Stop and go. Stop and go.
It's even harder, they say.
I think it was city because
I
it's
feel
more,
like a lot of city.
I think it's more walking than running, so I would consider that city walking. And he said, "Oh, you get another 150,000 miles out of this thing."
Where's that machine now?
Still sitting in my old basement. We couldn't remove it.
Oh, you mean in the old
Yeah,
house?
I don't have it. I sold it with the house.
Oh, what do they call it? Transfers? Or
It transferred with the house, and I didn't even ask. I just said, I can't.
Oh, I'd make you come back and get that.
It was so.
what do you think it is?
That's a new buyer.
God, it was so hard. They agreed to take it. It was so
Yeah.
hard to get it out of there because we had to take the door off the first time. It was the hardest thing I've ever tried to move.
Yeah.
Was that? And it's me and Wayne Quackenbush.
Is his name set on the bottom of it on a plate?
Yes.
Quackenbush.
Quackenbush was here.
Yeah. Yes.